William, congratulations on the film.
Thank you.
Very personal one for you, based on your own story and, of course, your play, Retreat from Moscow. I wondered why you changed the title. I've got to say, Hope Gap as a title is something of a gift with its double meaning. It's almost too good to be true.
Why did I change the title? When we did the play, it was actually on Broadway with John Lithgow and Eileen Atkins and Ben Chaplin, and called The Retreat from Moscow. And of course, everybody thought it was about Napoleon and the battles. And so it had to have a tagline under it saying a play about a family. And I spent all my time explaining the title. So when it came to making the film, I thought, all right, let's move on. And although I loved the title and I loved the metaphor that the title carries, I thought I'm going to have another title. So I grew up in a town called Seaford, and on the south coast, and near Seaford there is this cove called Hope Gap, which was very powerful in my childhood. And I suddenly thought that place, it could be the kind of locus of the emotions of the film, that rocky cove, shallow rocky cove where at low tide the rocks stretch out to the sea. There's something bleak and about it, but also powerful. So, and then I thought, well, why don't I call the whole film that, Hope Gap? Why didn't I make that be the title? Not everybody has liked that, I have to say. It's been a bit of a battle. And in lots of territories around the world, they've changed it because they say nobody will know what it means. Well, nobody knows what it means anyway, is my argument. It means my film.
And you mentioned you were brought up in Seaford. I wondered how the locals reacted to a film crew taking over their town.
Well, they absolutely loved it, actually, and they've been fantastic and very, very supportive. And we had to obviously get lots of permissions, particularly on the cliffs. Those cliffs are dangerous. And every now and again, you get some moron who does a selfie on Seaford Head, the high cliff, which is in my film, and falls over. And of course, they die. So also, just recently, there's been a suicide there. Somebody jumped over. So there are big rules. There are no fences, but there are big rules about how close to the edge you can get. So we had to have South Downs National Park officers with us, sort of making sure we didn't go too close to the edge on the film, because I don't want to encourage people to play those stupid games. But everybody was so helpful and so willing. We're filming on that huge beach. We're having to shoo people away so as to get the empty beach, because it's not empty in the summer. And they were so kind and cooperative, and I just felt embraced by the town. I really did.
Have they seen the film yet?
No, not especially. And there is a cinema in Seaford. You know, COVID, the pandemic has shut everything down. We were going to have a screening last autumn, and that all went, everything went wrong. And then we pitched it for the spring, and then that went wrong. So probably some of them have caught it by one means or another, but until it's released, they won't have seen it. And I was going to have a special screening in Seaford. That special screening will only be able to have 12 people and a dog in it. So it's a shame, you know, it's a shame. It's trickling out. I wanted it to land like a meteor, but no.
Not in these days, no chance.
Not in these days.
I mean, we do tend to think of you as writing bigger sort of epic stories like Gladiator, like Les Mis, like Mandela Long Walk to Freedom, but you do the smaller intimate stories as well, like this, like Shadowlands as well. Where do you feel most at home?
I like the combination, but I suppose I feel most at home in the small scale, very emotional, very personal stories, because I mean, there aren't so many movies that do that, actually, and do it powerfully. So that is probably, you know, if I do another film, it'll be one like that. I'm not about to do Gladiator.
And you've got a wonderful cast for this particular film. Was Bill Nighy the person you had in your mind for Edward when you were writing the script? I mean, it sounds like a bit of a no-brainer, really.
You're right, it is a no-brainer. I mean, when I'm writing a script, I don't have actors in mind. I have the characters in mind. But once it was finished and we were into casting, absolutely. I mean, it's like, it has to be Bill Nighy. You know, I've seen him on stage in the David Hare plays, and he is such an interesting, subtle actor. And I just knew that, I knew he'd be perfect for this. I mean, he's an extraordinary man, because he's, you know, he plays the Billy Mack character and everybody adores him. And he's got a kind of sex appeal, you know, and yet he also plays the screwed up, reticent Englishman perfectly. And that for me is ideal, because you want your audience to like your characters, even when they're playing dodgy people, you know. And I knew that Bill Nighy has got that, he's got that charisma, to be honest.
And what about Josh OConnor, who's essentially playing you? Why did you choose him?
He's playing, let's say, a character based on me. He wasn't somebody on my list. I'd never even heard of him when I was casting, and somebody suggested him to me, and I'd already been seeing possible actors for the part. So I then watched the film he had then made, which was called God's Own Country, and it's a remarkable film. Yes. And I thought, wow, you know, this guy can really act. So I said, can I meet him? And he came in, and he was already been offered a part at the same time in another film. But, you know, as soon as I met him, I wanted him. I mean, he's so empathetic, and not many actors have that. There's something just warm and lovable about him. And I really wanted that. And I begged him to junk the other offer and come with us, which I'm really happy to say he did. And I just think he's extraordinary. He breaks your heart, you know, he's amazing.
And you say his character is based on you. What was it like watching somebody play a character based on you when you were sort of looking at them down the camera lens?
I sort of didn't think of it. Because of having done the play and then this, and many years having gone by, I was looking all the time for the emotional authenticity. Not, does it look like me, but do I believe this person? Do I believe what he's feeling and what he's thinking? And that was what was important to me. And I don't think he bothered himself too much about being like me, because here I am, kind of old and bald. And, you know, I'm not exactly a role model for a 29-year-old.
And he's got a wonderful head of hair, let's face it.
He has got a wonderful head of hair, and long may he keep it.
Enviably so. I wondered what you got coming up next. I read something about a film with Ron Howard.
Oh yes, that's right. Yes, that's me as a screenwriter. I've written the screenplay for a film called 13 Lives, which is about the Thai football team that got stuck in a cave, and the English divers who rescued them. And Ron Howard is going to shoot that in February, I think, something like that. So my work is
on for February.
I hope so. I mean, I imagine it all depends on what happens with COVID and things like that. But that's currently the plan.
Well, fingers crossed for that. William, been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Freda. Great pleasure.